Hi, this is Godfrey, your trusted mentor, advisor, and educator. We help candidate engineers, technologists, and technicians to successfully complete TERs, TEOs, and engineering report within 6 weeks without confusion and wasting time. Now, this video is about outcome number 3, where I'm going to show you how do you actually work around outcome number 3 and write all your requirements to meet the necessary requirements in terms of outcome number 3. As you can see, this is our updated candidate fast track system. We have changed some steps so that we make it relevant and more clear to our candidate. Now, these are the testimonials and recommendations of some of the candidates that we worked with. This is Nkosana. He's registered in 2021 as a professional technologist. And he says the fast track system makes the process very easy to follow. The guidance he offers, meaning Godfrey, on compiling the engineering report and presentation for the professional review interview is of a great help. Okay, this is Mondley. He's a GCC registered as a certificated engineer also in 2021. And he said, I tried on my own to do the reports without a mentor. And he says, Godfrey helped me to understand each steps of the report writing process through coaching and reviewing my TEOs and TERs and the engineering reports. He helped me to organize my work experience and projects into clear, logical roadmap and guided me to structure and write specific and detailed report content. I achieved my EXA professional registration within 8 months. And he says, Godfrey assisted me through the coaching sessions with guidelines to prepare for the interview presentation accurately, and I'm so happy to be registered as a professional engineer in July. So these are the real people and the real results. And this is Ivan. He's a professional technician. He said, it was very challenging for me to align my work experience with EXA 11 outcome. That was his challenge, and we assisted him to go through that using our step number 5, which is alignment process to align your outcomes properly. And this is Isekwala. This is from Zimbabwe, and he registered also as a professional technologist. He say, you made my application in interviews for registration as a professional technologist with X relatively smooth for me and was very helpful. Right. And this is Busi. It says, he has been a good mentor, meaning Godfrey, a referee during my EXA registration process. I wouldn't have made it without you, much appreciated. And lastly, Stabo Baba, also as a professional technologist. The system really works and saves a lot of time. I mean, guys, really, if you go through all these steps, where we show you, the position, what's your qualification, the training, what's your experience, the pathway, which categories you want to register, PR Eng, PR Tech, PR Technician, or Certificated Engineer, report structure, the methodology, alignment process to cover the 11 outcome, report writing to cover the content, the details, and the specific, report assessment to assess your report, make sure that you meet the requirements, report submission, helping you to make sure what you submit is what will be accepted by X. And lastly, preparation for the interview, where we formulate the question and we give you the presentation. I mean, the 9 step that we follow, it's very powerful, and that's why we deliver these results. Real people, real results. If you want to know more about some of the candidates we work with, click on this link and go to our LinkedIn profile, connect with us and see more people that we've worked with. It's not only black people, we've worked with white people. We work with every person of any color. People that are coming to us and say, I need help, I've been battling, and we work with them, coach them, guide them, educate them, and help them to understand the pathway of moving from being a candidate and to becoming a professional. Okay, how do you apply engineering knowledge to solve problems? Okay, so this is outcome number 3 that talks about applying engineering knowledge. This is just a structure, just in summary. These are the tools that we apply, on the scope of work, the resources that we want, the timeline, the quality, the budget, and the risks. Okay, so we set on the scope what needs to be done. You need to understand that, in order for you to solve an engineering problem and apply a particular knowledge or specific knowledge on each engineering work activity, you need to understand what's the scope of work required. The timeline, how long it will take you to solve that problem. All right, the budget, how much is going to cost you to solve that particular problem. The risk, what needs to be avoided and what needs to be done, and how do you apply those regulations, in make sure that you minimize the risks in that particular engineering activities. The resources, who will help you. You need to also describe what are the resources in terms of people, in terms of equipment, in terms of tools that you will need to solve that particular problem by applying the engineering knowledge that you have learned. The quality, what processes needed to be implemented on that particular activity. So these things are very critical, in addressing the engineering knowledge, which is outcome number 3. So where you can talk about progress reports now that you've developed or produced, process flows that we have to follow in order to solve the problem, the work breakdown structure. How did you break out that particular problem and apply different engineering specific knowledge in those activities? Your site team, which is your resources, who are the people, the resources, who are the people who are going to help you to solve that engineering problem. The quality plan, what are the processes that you need to apply. These are legal and these are regulations. These are the processes and procedure that you need to put into place to deal with that particular problem. And then also the Gantt chart. How do you plan, in terms of time, how long it will take you. The tool is a Gantt chart, the MS projects that you use to schedule yourself to say, these are the specific a scope of work and the activities, and it's going to start from this date, it's going to end at this date. This, my candidate engineers, technologists, and technicians, these are important items or factors as you deal with applying your engineering knowledge that you have learned. Okay, so let's take step by step. What you do first in order to apply the knowledge. Study the engineering brief, which is your scope of work, okay? To understand the engineering scope of work or the problem statement, all right? So the client will give you the engineering brief. You need to study that and understand what is it that is involved. The next thing that you do then is to apply your regulations, okay? And the resources and the equipment, based on this diagram here. The people apply OSH Act requirements. People must have PEEs, the personal protective equipment for them to work. Machinery, apply machinery and works regulations, okay? One of the requirements, regulation is that if you work with anything that is rotating, the rotating part of that particular machine needs to be guarded. You need to put a guard around it for the safety reasons. Okay, these are the legislation that you need to quote when you talk about applying the knowledge. Environment, apply environmental act. Some of the activities that we do, they damage the environment. If we spill oil on the environment, it damages the soil, and then it damages the environment. Employment, what are the labor relations acts? You're working with people resources. How do you then apply the knowledge of the Labor Relation Act in order to make sure the activities that you do are not endangering people's life? Process and procedures, we talk here about all your quality plan, and the process flow. You need to apply the standards, the codes, the SANs and specifics, the specification of the enterprise. What are those processes and procedures that you need to apply, in making sure that in order to achieve or address this problem, these are the engineering codes that I need to apply, or engineering standards and specification. And this is part of the whole legal requirements of dealing with applying engineering knowledge. And then the next part is applying your theoretical knowledge learned from the BTech or from the BSc or from your diploma studies related to the engineering problem you want to solve. Apply first principle. If you're designing a conveyor system, it's the knowledge on that particular area is belt drives. You need to calculate the forces required. You need to know what's the mass and things like that. So it's important that you are able to link back your theory back to the problem and the knowledge that you are applying to solve this particular problem. And then the next thing, apply your experience and skills gained, including management of money, management of people, tender adjudication, fabrication, construction, installation, and commissioning of engineering work or project. So these are the skills that you have learned. So as you indicate it in your engineering report. How did you apply your knowledge? These are the things that you need to think about in addressing that particular outcome. The next thing that you need to do is applying financial knowledge to manage cost and expenditure for the engineering work or project. Create cost reports and share with the team to report on the progress of each package. So it's important also to show when you apply knowledge, you need to be specific. What knowledge have you applied in order to solve that particular problem? The next thing, manage the team and administer the contract, health and safety, risk management, quality management, project management, or engineering construction of engineering work or project. So you need to show where the people, the resources that were part of working with you together in order to solve that particular problem. Applying all the required knowledge in order to address outcome number 3. So that is all about that, applying your engineering knowledge. Okay, so if you want to know more, go to this link, go through this webinar where we are going into details explaining to you the candidate fast track system and how we can work with you and help you to achieve and to address all the 11 outcomes in order to register as a professional engineer, professional technologist, professional technician, professional certificated engineer. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.